Alrighty, so we got a much needed, good night's sleep at the hotel last night. Oh, it looks like we're gonna actually have to stay at the hotel tonight as well. And this will be the last night because the brightside will be drying probably overnight and we don't want to sleep in the fumes. The KiwiGrip supposedly doesn't have harmful fumes, so we're not worried about that.
Water-based.
Water-based, so we're gonna do the brightside first on the smooth areas and then do the KiwiGrip after that. So tonight the brightside will be drying and then tomorrow night we will be back here sleeping on the boat. So last night we finished up all of the sanding. So we sanded down the old non-skid with 80 grit, and then we went over everything with 80 grit with the random orbit sander, and we hand sanded the areas with 120 that we couldn't get with the orbital sander, and we went back with 220 on the random orbit sander and really smoothed out the really smooth areas and hand sanded with 220 the areas we couldn't get. We then went back and vacuumed everything. So a quick wipe down with water. We'll let that dry, and then a tack cloth on the smooth areas should be all that's needed for paint today. And obviously to tape everything off. The non-skid is prepped for KiwiGrip, and the smooth areas are prepped for brightside. So there's a lot more taping that needs to be done now that we didn't have to do when we did the primer. So Randy's over here doing like the curves and the little meticulous areas. She's a little more meticulous than I am. So I'm doing the big long runs. I'm a little faster.
The long runs.
I'm doing the long runs. Areas like these. These long runs. I can do them pretty quick. We still got a lot more taping to do. We've probably been taping for close to an hour now. So I think it's gonna take a total of 2 or 3 hours maybe to tape all this, because we still have all of the cockpit to do behind me. But this is definitely a part of the process that you do not want to take shortcuts on. You want the tape to look good, all the little radius edges, because you're gonna kick yourself if you take a little bit of a shortcut here to save a half an hour and then your paint job doesn't look the way you wanted it to. All right guys, so we just got to the boat from the hotel this morning, and the brightside has been drying overnight, and I'm gonna show it to you now. It looks really good. It's not perfect. This boat's never gonna be perfect, but we're really happy with the result. Check it out. So these are the areas we painted right here. All along here, all the smooth areas, all the areas that are not gonna get non-skid. So all up here, around the hatches. It looks really, really good. Smooth areas in the cockpit. Really happy with it. Interlux recommends at least 2 coats. Now we're gonna do the second coat today, and I think that's all we're gonna need. It covered pretty well. There's only a couple spots where you can see a little bit of stuff coming through. I think after we get done with the second coat, it's gonna be perfectly acceptable, and we're gonna be happy with it, and we'll be able to move on to KiwiGrip. But before we apply the second coat, the Interlux instructions say to sand in between each coat with 320 grit sandpaper. We're gonna do that. It's probably gonna take about a half an hour or so. Clean that up, tack cloth everything again, and then paint again. Check it out, guys. So this is the second coat. Randy's rolling, and I am tipping. I'm so proud of this area right here. Highly visible area. Looks really, really good. We've moved on to this area right here. It's all been tipped, all been tipped, all been tipped, all been tipped, up into right here. Randy's rolling out. We're going along the outside areas, and then we're gonna go into the cockpit. And it's about time that I go back and tip what I just showed you.
This side is all done.
Okay.
Make sure you get this rolled in. Spiffy.
All right.
Okay. I stuck out my tongue like they could see that.
Take a look at the bright side. So now that's 2 coats of brightside on the smooth areas, and it looks, dare I say, pretty dang spiffy. It already looks so much better than it did before. I cannot wait until we get this KiwiGrip down, because then the entire deck is just gonna be nice and bright white and just, it's gonna look awesome. It really is. So in case you were wondering how long it takes to tape up the entire deck on a 32-foot sailboat, the answer is 3 hours with 2 people working. So take a look. She's all taped up. And we're ready for KiwiGrip. Randy's cooling down back there by the fan. But we've got the cockpit doors laid out on the table right here, and we're gonna start KiwiGripping them. PYI, the makers of KiwiGrip did send us 3 gallons of KiwiGrip for free to use on our boat and do a review and for it to be in our videos. So now you guys know, and we will let you know the good and the bad about KiwiGrip, what we think about it as we apply it, and obviously as we cruise with it. So this stuff is super thick. I actually bought a spoon from the dollar store to actually scoop it up and apply it. And then we have just a cheap brush to kind of spread it around. And then we have the roller that is sent by KiwiGrip, and this is actually what gives the KiwiGrip its texture. So PYI recommends that you start in small areas for the very reason why, you know, I put too much on here, so that you can get an idea how to work it, how to apply it on a smaller area before you go onto the big areas on your deck. So I bought some of these too. They're like Bondo putty knives or putty scrapers. So that looks like that's probably good right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to apply the texture.
Make sure you go all the way onto the tape, babe. Wow, that is really textured. It's nuts.
I think that looks great. I mean, that texture is very, very aggressive. I like it.
That looks real good.
It looks really good. All right, let's do another one. Let's have you do one.
Okay.
Let me put this guy down.
Sure.
Now that is a good looking cockpit locker door. Alrighty, so we got all the cockpit lids done. Now I think both Randy and I are ready. We got the hang of it, and I think we're ready to start on deck right here. So I just finished with my side deck, and Randy's still working on hers, but we started at the bow and then we kind of split off into the side decks because the original non-skid wasn't broken up into sections, where we kept it that way, so we didn't break up this non-skid into sections. Anyway, I'm done with my side deck, and it looks freaking amazing. Take a look. Check that out. Check it out. That looks awesome. Take a look at what Randy's doing. Randy's over here making a mess, but her side is looking awesome as well. It is just looking amazing. Now that I'm done with this side deck on the port side, I'm gonna start working on the cabin top, and then we're gonna move to the cockpit afterwards. So hopefully by the time I'm done with the cabin top, Randy will be done with her side deck, and then we can both, you know, do sections of the cockpit together. All we've got left is this door here that Randy's doing. Those two back there are done. This little area right here. This little area up front. And then this little area right here. And then obviously the floor. But the floor is going to be the last thing we do. And then we're going to evacuate. Alrighty, so I just want to show you guys the new deck. And as you can see, there's sundown on it, so we've actually moved out of the shed and we are back in our old spot. We actually got a family thing we're going to be going to for about a week, so we're going to be leaving the boat here for about a week or so, and then we'll be back. But we don't have the port lights in yet, because we're waiting on hardware. So we're actually going to be putting a tarp over everything just to keep it watertight. We're gonna strap it down and, you know, the port lights won't leak. It's a little bit more than what we did last time before we just duct taped everything, but we've got nice brand new paint there that we don't want to get all ruined and everything. And that is the finished tarp right there. There's a 2x6 on some boxes underneath, giving it that kind of A-frame structure to keep the tarp off the deck. So there's a little bit of airspace between the deck and the tarp. And yeah, looks pretty good. I think that'll be nice and watertight. Should last for the next week.
I've got it right and I got it